What is going on, guys, and welcome to league racing. And yes, we are league racing once more. This is my first proper league race since I think December 2019 on F1 2019. So it's been a while, but we are back for TSRL, which is probably one of the most competitive leagues currently out there on Xbox. We're at Brazil, and we've done a little bit of practice. But overall I'm a little bit off the pace. It's a 3 qualifying format session, and this is our first lap in Q1, so you can really kind of get a grip of how bad I really was, which luckily I do get better as the sessions go on, but really as a first qualifying session back, Q1 was not great at all. Usually I wouldn't like the 3 qualifying format, it just takes too long and I really don't, but on this in particular occasion it was quite good because I could kind of build up my pace and my confidence. And the pace itself wasn't too bad, but I was pretty quick. Not the quickest, but I was pretty quick.
My 6.5 prediction's very
but
optimistic.
the confidence was
that's awful.
genuinely...
No, there's not a lot of grip on the track.
That is genuinely
as you can hear,
tragic.
that was an awful lap. The confidence, I literally had none. Yeah, I don't really know what to say. I was literally almost shaking. It was that bad. It felt weird because I didn't feel nervous, but clearly subconsciously I did. Yeah, if that makes any sense at all. It's a really weird sensation, not one I'd really ever felt before, or at least for a while in terms of league racing. You get a little bit nervous, like back in AOR days before the start of the race, you get a little bit nervous, but this was on a whole different level. It's just, I hadn't really done it. I hadn't really done many races. Just before I filmed any of the 1v1s. So I literally hadn't driven much. I'd done the TT setup video. I'd done a few things here, but not really a competitive race at all, let alone a league race itself. And yeah, we were really quite off the ball of where we needed to be. But this is our second lap in Q1. It's looking a bit better. Our first lap got us at P17, so that kind of just proves how bad it was.
I've never felt nervous.
As our engineer, CRG Pinecone says we're safely in.
I've never felt like this in my life. What is
You'll
this?
go around 4th.
5th.
I think 4th.
Oh my god. I need to sort
Yeah,
this
it's
out.
close.
I need to sort this out
Close
for
up the
Q2.
front.
As you can hear there, I was a little bit over
more
exaggerating,
fresh
so I was going to have a
steps, plus the one
panic
for
attack,
Q3,
but it's
plus
kind
the
of
one you just came off.
that sort of feeling. It felt really weird. But yeah, it's as I said before, it's really hard to explain how that felt, but we did get safely through into Q2 in the end. I was thinking at one point maybe I wouldn't, but our first lap in Q2 wasn't great at all. As you can hear there, I've said the exact same thing at the time. I was behind Martin by like 14,000, and his lap wasn't great either. We both had pretty poor first runs on the used tyre. Our second run, we're 2 temps up, but it's not, again, a great lap.
Corner, it'll be on the bubble. Just keep it tight.
Yeah, it's not going to be a great lap. It's going to be a 6.4.
I hate my life. What am I doing?
Need every
We're
1,000.
P7.
6.42, yeah, that's on the bubble. You may have to go again.
And indeed, we do go again. We did go again on a brand new set of tyres, which really isn't ideal, but I thought I'd rather be in Q3 with one worn set than not being at all, which may have been a mistake, which you will see later on in the video. But yeah, we're 700ths down straight away out of turn 1, so I'm really thinking the worst here. As you can see, we are P10. We are right on the cusp, so I really have to get this lap in. That's what I was thinking at the time, because we gained quite a bit of time at turn 4, which was a really problem corner for me. And the setup, looking back at it now, it was quite understeery and not great in a straight line. It was good, very low speed rotation, kind of, but high speed it was not great at all, both high speed corners and on the straight, as I said. But we are finding a little bit of time, and we really need all the time we can find. And as it was a full quali session, the grip was a little bit different to short qualifying.
Right, I've improved.
I don't really know how to explain how it feels. It just, you have less grip and the grip differs, so the lap times are a little bit different to what we were used to. I did about maybe a 6.1 in practice. We did a 6.301 there. And I really felt like I wasn't hooking up the laps properly. in any of the sessions really, but we did get through, and in the end we didn't actually need to put the lap in because no one else improved behind us, but we had to do it for safety as yeah, Shady almost
Shady
goes
doing?
into us. I was not very happy on my first Q3 lap on a worn set of tyres, so this is not going to be representable.
What was JD doing? Jesus Christ. What? He
Yeah,
literally
that was
drifted into me.
close. That was,
That completely put me off.
I think that's solid for a U set. You might just have a 0.4, very close. 0.5.
As we do a 6.5, so that was 2.5 attempts off what we did in Q2, so we know there's time to find, as we do go again, I believe, on a fresh set of tyres, and we make a mistake at the last corner.
I did the last
But
one.
luckily we have
Oh
enough
my
fuel
God.
to do a cool down lap and go for it again, which is what we do. And we really need to get lapping because we are P10 in Q3, which is not good at all. And as we go through turn 1 and 2, we're a tiny bit down. We do gain time on the exit though, which is good, but we are, this delta is against our used tyre lap, so realistically we should be up anyway. But these tyres are a little bit worn now after doing the extra laps, the cool down and the push before. As you can hear there, I wasn't very happy with that, but we are a 10th up at least. Keeping it much tighter than before through there, which is good. And once again, we just a little bit deep. We don't quite hook it up that nicely through there, and we get a bit of a lock up there as well. It's just not that great at all. But we are a little bit up on our time. We're just over a 10th up. And we find some time at this corner here. That was actually quite nice. Probably the best corner I did on the lap, because the rest of it wasn't great, but not bad at the same time. Final corner, again, we shouldn't really be using that inside curve because it kind of unsettles the car. But we
3
do
tenths up.
finish the
Alright.
lap just under 3 tenths up, which is going to bump us up a few positions. How many, though, is the key question.
Apparently 2
We
tenths,
go
so
into
I doubt that.
P3,
6.2, P3.
which, as I said there, I'll take that, but it was actually P2 because the guy in P2 at the Smasher had a 5-place grid
Oh, he's
penalty.
overtake at start,
So
right?
we
A
do
lot of
start on the
overtake.
front row of our grid
I d-
on
yeah,
our
yeah.
return.
I just have it in overtake for the
So
start. which an
I'm
overtake.
asking there, what do I use overtake at the start? I literally didn't know. My first race back. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. There's different strategies. There's people outside the top 10 on mediums.
AMS
Will they be quicker? Will they not? How is it going to go? Are we going to drop back like a stone or something? That doesn't really make sense. Ignore that. But anyway, 5 lights. And it's lights out and away we go. It looks like an alright start. We get a bit of wheel spin, and Felipe's going to be alongside us, and we can't really risk out braking ourselves because we'd go straight into the back of Oates out front or Oxtez in front. But we are behind the 2 Haas cars now,
Alright, don't worry about that, mate. Just
Yeah.
be wary.
which isn't
lag.
bad because one of them's going to have to pit on the different lap.
6.7.
But we were in lean on the start, which I don't know if
Felipe's not
helped me
that
at all. It
bad.
probably didn't, in fact. So that might have been a little bit why we were a little bit slow off the line. But yeah, all of what we got to try to do now is we got to try and save as much as we can.
Come to you.
Maybe pick up a move on Felipe if we can, and just not pick up any warnings. That'll be the key because penalties will decide this race 100%.
Make sure you're avoiding warnings while in the train.
And yeah, so far it's not been a bad opening lap. We've only lost 1 position really, and realistically we only qualified 3rd as it is. So all being all, we haven't lost out too much.
It looks like we're just having a crash behind you.
And yeah, we're still relatively close. We got our front wing. Everything seems to be going well. As there was a
2 cars are gone. There's a massive,
collision
okay, there's a
behind. I
massive
believe
gap
it
through
was
there.
Dominic.
Oh, bloody hell, yeah. He
hitting
just
Smasher.
followed you up. Jake
So there's
dragged
now a
the
big gap
guys
between
behind a
the
lot,
top
though.
4 and the
Jake
rest,
started
which
that
is
next
good
train,
for us because it holds the medium guys back. So that means it'll be harder for them coming through, and it really allows us to do more of the strategy. And we won't have to worry about getting overtaken too much from cars behind. But there is another yellow flag behind, and there's a safety car.
Oh, safety car. Well.
Oh,
Well, actually, this helps me get to lap 15.
yeah.
That's kind of annoying, actually, though.
Yeah, second.
And as you can hear there,
1 second, I'm too ahead. You should be pretty safe.
I was thinking about
because
pitting for hards,
obviously you can't pass to the line,
but I didn't in the
line's very
end.
far out, so you should
But the safety car really doesn't help us because yes, it does help us go to lap 15, which is when we need to pit. But it also helps the medium guys so much. It gives them such an advantage because it bunches everyone up, and their tyres are now probably better than the softs. So yeah, we had a decent restart. We couldn't really do much. You don't want to really risk a stupid dive on lap 5. So yeah, we just kept it in behind, nice and easy. We used probably a little bit too much ERS, which is one thing you'll see later in this video. My ERS management definitely needs to be worked on. That's one area I can take straight away from this race. First race back, ERS management wasn't great, but that's for later on in the video. As we doing decent, we're in P3 still. It looks decent. If you told me I'd get P3 at the end of the race, I'd definitely take it at this stage. Even though we're in the potential fight for the lead at the moment, P3 is good. So moving on to lap 11, not really much happened. Oxtears or Oats, whatever you want to call him, out front, really started to pull away, but then he started making a few little errors, and yeah, it was quite an interesting one. It was quite hard to follow sometimes, but then on some laps, and then other laps it was quite easy to just keep with them because of the DRS. But yeah, as you can see here, Ronha behind us has decided to use his overtake ERS, and he's going to go for a move on us. He's going to go to the outside, but we're not having any of that. He tries around the outside, but we keep the position. A little bit of a lock-up, but we do keep the position. But what that's really done is that's put us in a situation now where we don't have a lot of ERS. We can presume he doesn't have a lot, but we don't actually know really. We have no idea. And with the flashing light on the back of our car, that's the thing. If you've got low ERS, your light flashes on the back of your car. So he can know if we're low or not on ERS, so he will know when to attack. We don't know any of that. We've got no knowledge on his ERS situation.
And usually if you respond by using yours, they'll just...
But we are still quite close to Felipe. So I was thinking, I've got the DRS. I should probably be fine from another attack, because he must have used some of his ERS. So yeah, let's just see how it goes. Going through the last corner now. We do what we do in qualifying, and we lose their rear end, and now Ronha is literally in our gearbox. It's less than a tenth, and we're going to use our overtake here, but we're under 10%, and he's just going to fly by us. There's not really much we can do, and I probably should just let it go earlier, save the ERS, because we have 0% battery now. So yeah, looking back, I probably would have, again, tried to save my ERS better, but sometimes just let these people go, because they're going to get the overtake on you anyway. Don't drain your ERS as well.
Yeah, and he'll be
but one thing to note is,
well, so
I believe Leopard behind us pits on lap 13, which is this lap we're showing now, as we are right behind Ronha. We're going to try and get a move, but we haven't got the ERS, and Jakey B, that's Jakey B behind us in a different game, he has a load of ERS, and he's going to our outside, and we can't brake too late because Ronha is right in front of us, and I cannot see his arrow at all. That's why I had no idea where he was. But I can now see he's on our outside, and he's just going to get the position again because the ERS is one of those things. I'm just not used to the system on this game, really at all. I've not used as much as any of these guys. I've about 2 days game time on Xbox compared to some people with 30. So that explains it all. As we end of that lap, decide to pit. We see Leopard pits before us, and we have to respond. But the annoying thing is, Ronha is also pitted, and this is my biggest issue with this game is...
Oh, I'm going to get held actually thinking about it.
He pits, I pit, and you get held by so much. It's ridiculous how much you get held by. We've lost a second there, straight away.
I think they surely will as well,
because we were about a second behind him.
It wasn't a big
when he pitted and I pitted, and we're coming out now, and you're about to see the gap. Leopard's already gone. Leopard's jumped both of us. You can see how helpful the undercut was, and we are now over 2 seconds behind Ronha, which isn't great. So we've lost out a load of time, and once everyone else had pitted, now on to lap 17, we're behind them all. Luckily, we're still in the DRS train, so we haven't lost out a huge amount, but we have really lost out because of track position. But moving on to lap 19, you can see there's someone in the pit lane, and that is VRT Sparks. He started on the medium tyre in P11. He is now on the soft tyre, and he is only about a second and a half, 2 seconds maybe behind us. Not even that, he's 1.0 seconds behind us. And by the end of that lap, he's already right on us. We're about 2 tenths behind Jakey B, and he is already on us. That just shows the pace of the soft tyre.
It's just saving ERS wherever you can.
And
see the last car.
We kind of want to keep him behind, so we're using a bit of overtake here, but just look how much overspeed he's got. He's going to the inside. He's a very aggressive driver.
allowing him to crash into the guys ahead.
So yeah, I have to just let him go because he's on the soft tyre. There's literally nothing I can do
Do
there.
you know what? 'Cause I know he's dirty.
Yeah,
I'm not
he
even-
will
And
cause
that
an
kind of
incident.
becomes
Yeah,
a bit of a
exactly.
theme.
Cause an
He
incident with one of the
flies
guys
through the
ahead
pack.
and
He's
take
already
Marlborough.
a few laps later. He's already through a few cars. As JKB goes for a move on Felipe, gets it a little bit wrong. We try around the outside, but it's not really going to work. We lose the rear end, just have to let it go. But yeah, as I was saying, that Sparks overtake's going to be a bit of a theme of this race. As now BDG Pancakes is right behind us on the soft tyre. And he's going to be thinking about moving. He has a little look, but no more than a look. We leave a tiny bit of space just in case he went for it.
Pancake seems very aggressive.
We want to keep hold of this position because we don't want to
did not-
drop that
he
far
did
down
not
the field. We're in
deactivate
P9.
overtake.
We defend the
Shame.
inside. He goes right round the outside of us. We stick it in there. He goes a little bit off track, maybe due to the contact model. But we do keep the position, luckily. But we've got no ERS, and that's the main issue here. We have nothing
Yep.
to defend from anymore.
Eventually, the tyres will
What is
equalise.
he?
And as you can
Oh
see there,
my
I
God.
wasn't very happy he went from
Oh.
there, considering he's on the soft, and we have nothing to fight with. But looking back at it now, I should have just let him go straight away, because the safety cars already ruined us enough to the point where these guys are
Fair enough,
got a
you
massive
wanna get past,
advantage.
but don't go for me
Just
for
let them
that.
go. They're going to get past anyway.
And you're not far back.
You're just hindering yourself by using up your ERS, and I've just completely made the same mistake as I did when Ron Har was behind me and in qualifying.
I think
I've lost
he
the rear
might
end
be
of
the
that final
last, though.
corner, and I think it's still due to how I was taking it. It's just a driving style thing. So I let Pancakes go, and then I let
Sparks
Hawk
now
go,
broke
who was on
away
the
from
soft
your-
as well.
from that train
And now I'm
ahead
letting
of you, so
Clenzo
it
go,
might
so
start to
it's
slow down.
really quite unfortunate how I'm having to let all these drivers past, because there's nothing I can do. I'm using all my ERS, as you can see. I'm trying to fight it as much as I can. But the tyre advantage, the tyre delta is so big, considering that they weren't far behind us at all. There's nothing we can do. We're down in P12 now, so it's not looking good at all. But this is not only really an issue I'm having, because we got JKB, who was
feel really slow
ahead of us
line.
before the pit
Don't know what it
stops. He's
We're
also
like
struggling as well
19
in this
just
pack. As Martin now gets ahead of us, he was started P13ish.
It's one of those
As
races.
you know, makes slight contact there. He started P13, and that just proves how
Seven between him and
overpowered
JD.
this medium soft was in
JD
this
on the
particular
old
race.
hard.
But
Surely
now on
you
lap
can't
31,
make it.
Martin has actually
Oh,
spun,
Martin's
and that
spun.
puts us into P10. We're going to get a point at this rate.
Disappointing
It's not great considering we started
Yeah, Martin's
P2.
given up.
I'll try and get you
but at
gapped
least it's a
loads
point,
in
you could say.
P6 when I can. That's 5
But there are a
seconds.
few cars still out there. There's a few who pitted on the onto the hards during the safety car, so let's see if they can get to the end. We got past one of them in AMS Square, and I believe it's TSRL Limitless, the last car out there on the hard tyre, so let's see how he does. I think he's in about third position at the moment, but as you can see, we got Felipe in front of us. JKB is already behind us somewhere. I don't even remember what happened to him. We got Felipe, who, remember, he was in front of us straight from the start, so he's had a poor race, considering, and that's our first warning.
Got my first warning. My
A
last
poor
one.
race in his position loss, like the same as us, basically. And he's going for a move on Clenzo now, and he loses a bit of his front wing, so that's
Felipe's lost his
instantly
front
making
wing.
him a bit intrigued and trying to go for a move. And is that on the right? That is TSRL Limitless himself. He is a puncture,
Limitless
and
got puncture.
ooh, it's very close between him, Felipe, and myself. But the opportunistic in me
What the hell's just
gets
happened there?
past Limitless, of course. I'd hope to get past him with a puncture, but also managed to pick off Felipe at the same time. And that is now us into P7, which is a bit more respectable. And as you can see in the top left, Flying Oats, Oxtez, whatever you want to call him,
Limitless
has a
punch.
5-second stop-go
Yeah.
penalty,
That
and he's only
Limitless
3
is
seconds in front of us. So
Last lap.
unless there's a massive drama, we're going to get past him as well. So that would be us into P6
Sparks
on the
has
line.
won the race.
Once again, we've got no ERS, we've got nothing. We've got lots of fuel. I think I just need to
Won the
work on
race by
fuel
2
management
fucking seconds.
and ERS management. My fuel management's good, to be fair. I just have too much of it, as a lot of you point out. But anyway, we did finish P6 in the end. I think it's quite decent, considering down in 13th at one point. So yeah, and I do believe we were second in the soft medium strategy. Literally everyone in front of us, other than Leopard, who got the massive undercut, was on the medium soft, which after the safety car was just so overpowered. They all just got through. I think the podium were people, yeah, you can see there, 11th, 17th, and 14th is where they started. So yeah, it just proves it. We really didn't do much wrong. I mean, there's a lot of things we could have done better, but in terms of that, I don't think we could have done much to get a higher position. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you did enjoy. There should be another one of these about next week, because I hopefully am doing Abu Dhabi TSRL. Yeah, well, I'm a reserve, so that's how it works. But yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy this, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.